In this video, I'd like to explain what it's like to be fifth dimensional, what a fifth dimensional world is like. Now most of you all understand a three-dimensional world, and you can understand more of an expanded idea of that, more of a fourth dimensional world. Most of my life I was always fourth dimensional, always service to others. But to be fifth dimensional, there's some very very important understandings or things that the way you see things compared to a three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional world. Now, a lot of you are talking about these things on many social media, websites, books, etc. I just want to clarify a few things for you, because some of you do a lot of talking and all that, but you have a lot of drama in it, okay? So you're not fifth dimensional yet, because a lot of you got still too much drama going on, because you hold on as you're shifting. You see all these things, but there's certain dramas of as you're shifting, of either understanding things or letting them go or dealing with them. But when you're fifth dimensional, you just don't have none of those lower dimensional dramas at all, which would be the idea of like not watching the news. So if you're obsessed with watching the news, well, you're not fifth dimensional. If you like listening to music with a lot of words in it, the idea of what I'm trying to explain about that is when you start listening to music with words, because I can't listen to music with words. I can listen to music that have no words because I just fill in the blanks, or a song that wouldn't have too many words, because as soon as all these words, you're accepting somebody else's dramas, and that's how it is in the lower dimensional understanding of things, is you identify with that person's drama. You know, my dog died, my wife left, you know, and some of that rapper stuff about being disrespectful to yourself and other people, and, you know, scream rock, or I want my cookie and I want it now kind of thing. So you're identifying with all these lower ideas and concepts. So when you listen to that stuff, that becomes your reality. Now I'm going to do a little short thing right here, right now. I'm going to imagine yourself that this cup here, this is you, your body, your consciousness here on earth, and many incarnations that you've had. Now imagine that this is you. Now I'm going to take my fingernail, go, you lay it down, but it doesn't ring or resonate very far. It doesn't really go anywhere. Now I'm going to take this here. This is a flint glass bowl, but like a big crystal bowl. So you see how it just keeps ringing and ringing and ringing. Now what happens is, this is actually what's actually happening to us, where our consciousness goes out further and further and further, and, you know, ringing out, but then so does our feeling. We feel more and more and more and more. So we don't want to identify with a lot of those things that are in music. So what's going to happen too is a lot of the older music, you can see sort of what older music is more relevant with younger people today, and, you know, stuff that's kind of being forgotten about, you know. This is a lot. I could sit down with a lot of musicians and help you write a lot of songs or music that would, you know, and you can see it already changing in the young people, where it's more and like a ooh and a yeah and stuff, rather than so many words, rather than, you know, happy, upbeat, cheerful things with more just leaving you time to fill in the blank sort of thing. And you see this in more music coming along today. So one other thing that you'll notice, well, the other thing is violence in movies and stuff. I can't watch a lot of movies because they got some kind of either dramas or you got killing and stuff. And this is about extraterrestrial discrimination, because when you're higher dimensional, you don't have those ideas. You're going to invade somebody, take them over, enslave them, eat them, manipulate them, because you don't have those ideas. It's just silly. You're in it just for the experience and for the shared experience of all, and that's all that is to it. And you just admire other people for their experiences and their sharedness of the whole thing, and that's just how it is. You don't have any of those earth ideas. Like on earth, like you're in a pit of darkness, and it's controlled by fear. So like a flower would fall into it, and you go, oh, I don't, what's that? I don't know. It's evil. It must be the devil. Yeah, because you don't understand it, But we're all moving out beyond that and past that now. Just explaining, what it's like to be higher dimensional. The other thing is you'll start to, when you'll as you're shifting, you'll have synchronicities, but things will just become very in sync. You'll just think about a person, and all of a sudden that person is just kind of in your reality, sort of thing. So this synchronicity start as repeating numbers and stuff, but it will expand and expand and expand until things come into your reality more quicker and easier. Watch the movie The Secret. It's a good one. I have a video explaining manifestation, how to create the reality you want. Explains the same thing, maybe a little different way. The other thing is, as I'm a fifth dimensional, eighth dimensional, and higher, and I've been on ships with ETs. Biggest thing is explained in Dolores Cannon's book, The Three Ways of Volunteers. When I was a kid, I was on a ship with ETs. Because I was going to die. At that time, I was crying myself to sleep at night. I couldn't understand why people are so cruel to each other. I could never figure people out. All my life, I could never, ever figure out humans at all. I never lived a life as a human. But I do now. I totally understand it 100%. And they, just did healing with me. Now I'm on ships again with them. And another very important key thing right now is you'll see lots of UFOs, okay, and that they're not, that they're an ET ship. It's easy to figure that out. And now they're gonna, we're at the point where you're gonna see massive amounts of these UFOs everywhere right now, and they're getting closer and closer, saying hello to us. But it's about us raising our consciousness to them. Now, another thing, as you get to be higher dimensional, you will understand different timelines. And I explain this as alternate realities, because every moment we have infinite possibilities. So why not? It's wonderful. We can. It's just great. I go into great detail more about that in another video, but what will happen is, and I can prove this in a court of law so many different ways, and I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people all the time coming into my store. They'll say, oh, we just thought we'd come in and check it out. Well, they've already been in my store. I have a video camera that goes with me. So wherever I go, that video camera goes. So when they were there in my reality, I have recorded it. And I also have other people that know this, workers that will remember, oh yeah, that person's been in the store. They'll argue up and down with me, even husband and wife. We've never been in your store, but they've been in there 20, 30 times, 40, 50 times maybe even. But it's just in alternate realities. You start realizing sort of these different things, and maybe at the start it seems a little funny, but after a while it's like, no, it's great. It's just whatever is the now experience. Even if I'm having an alternate reality of that now I had before, it doesn't really matter. I'm just enjoying the now. So that's, you understand the idea of time travel then as well, because you've been there, you have deja vu, yeah, been there, done that, yeah. But when you're higher dimensional, you actually remember it. The other thing that happens is when you're fifth dimensional, this will gradually, as you're shifting, is you are telepathic. Now, I have a video explaining this, but what is telepathy? Telepathy is empathy. The more empathic you are, the more compassion and empathy towards others and nature and everything else, which you ask people a question, they say, oh yeah, I have a lot more, yeah, in the last few years a lot more, they'll say. And so what happens is it's a natural opening up expanding out, like I said with the crystal bowl there, of how we expand out, and telepathy just becomes a natural state for you. And telepathy with extraterrestrials, very easy to do, but it's about you opening up to them. So the other thing is, to prove this in a court of law, again, the idea of telepathy is women have women's intuition. And guys, you know what I'm talking about here, because you can't pull over the wool over the woman's eyes, or because she's going to understand it and get it after a while, and you're going to be in deep crap, okay? Because she knows what's going on. You can't fool a woman, okay? So I think most guys have sort of learned, how far to go. Don't push it with them. So this is the idea of why a woman has more intuition, is because the more compassion and empathy that they have. So as we expand out, as more and more compassion and empathy we have expanding out, the more we just naturally become telepathic. So when you're fifth dimensional, you're telepathic, okay? And that's the idea of being telepathic and communing with extraterrestrials, and which is instant, because it can be instant anywhere in the galaxy, anywhere in the universe. You can just instantly know what it is, and it's not so much a progression. I have videos. It's not a progression, sort of like words. It is when I'm understanding people. I have full telepathic conversations with people they're very empathic. Yeah, but if a person is three-dimensional, it's very hard to actually have that telepathy with them, because it's just very, well, you don't even want to connect to them, because it's just. And the other thing is, when you're fifth dimensional, you'll find it very, 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 very hard to function in the world the way it is today, because the whole concept of everything, because everyone's in it for the enjoyment, and we're in it for each other. And the idea of money and laws and all kinds of these things aren't relevant anymore. I used to say go to the post office or to the bank or something once, twice a week or something like that. Now it's like every 3 to 4 weeks or something like that, because I'm just not on that treadmill anymore. And I keep a business, whatever. It's part of me making a connection to everybody. So I really would rather just not have anything to do with it at all. But anyways, yeah, the idea of the ego and bureaucracies and all these kind of things. The idea of government is basically you're in it for each other. So you would be picked by people to choose to accept a job. In today's day and age, you would have like a council over councils over councils, and people would have been in councils probably before they ever got up into the higher councils, but not necessarily has to be that way, where you would pick people who are there because of their achievements, their service to others, because they have a higher understanding of everything. So you'd have a council for science and development, science of and this council of the environment, say world environment, council for building, council for the idea of law again. I have one where explaining the idea of higher dimensional law, where you go in the courtroom and all of a sudden everyone is telepathic or clairvoyant, right? They just know. Just think of how all that changes. So you can't play out all those courtroom dramas the way it is right now, which is really the fact that we've had to go through all the silly courtroom progressions of things. It's just so people can play out their silly little games in one way or another, their manipulations, or their trying to hide from the truth and all that, where the whole idea is really it's just about expanding your consciousness and more about rehabilitation. And you know, and a lot of people, by the time they've even got there, they've already realized what they did was wrong, and they don't really need to go to jail for very long anyways, because like, hey, oh, I did that wrong, I got caught up in something, and I should never do that again. So they'll put a person in jail sometimes when you know, because to rehabilitate somebody, you just know that they already know, and you all just know that, you know, the person, you know, has understood what they got caught up in or whatever happened. So now the other thing is to explain three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional, fifth-dimensional. That's the idea of I use this again, okay? It helps to explain it better. In a three-dimensional reality, say you see things from only usually a couple, but let's say 10 times point of view. In a fourth-dimensional reality, you see things from 100 times point of view. In a fifth-dimensional reality, you see things from 100 times or 1,000 times point of view. Sixth-dimensional, 10,000 times point of view. The way you would see things and your connectedness to all the aspects of that, of the experience, or of the many alternate realities of that experience. And I'm just explaining this again. You see all your expanded consciousness, and this is what's actually physically happening to us, because inside we have a thing called our pineal gland. They say our God gland, whatever. What that does is, it's our connectedness to feeling. It's how we feel our alternate, our realities, the now reality in, you know, in this holographic universe. And it's a wonderful thing, because, you know, but now, because the Earth, the human resonance is vibrating a lot faster. The whole Earth is vibrating faster, and this is where, with all of our that we're feeling more, resonating more, and all these things, it has to do with our pineal gland. And this is another thing that you'll notice when you are fifth dimensional, is when you look out, you will see like leaves on a tree. You kind of used to maybe see the leaves on the tree as a, you know, the whole kind of tree with a bunch of leaves in it, you know. But now what happens is more like a reflector, where you'll see all the leaves vibrating all at the same time, like that, right? You'll see each and every little leaf, vibrating, because the whole field, our experience is excited more. So this is how we can, you know, experience all of that. So if you look out, you see these sort of things in nature, right? And many other things. There's many things that have changed in nature. I have another video explaining like telepathy with animals, you know. And you know, if animals know that you love them, and then you don't mean them anything, they usually just go on their way, and you know, or you'll find the animals like to get really close to you. Like I used to spend a lot of time, you know, in the forest and stuff when I was a kid. And animals used to come up to me all the time. You know, certain ones would keep sort of their distance, and but I just love to sit there and watch them, you know. They're just beautiful, amazing creatures, you know. So anyways, just a few things about being fifth dimensional. I'll go in many more videos to explain more details about different aspects of these things, about you know, the idea of councils. Like you'd be picked for a council. In Canada, we probably have there's different people that had great achievements, and one more so, many. I know different people who won the Order of Canada and been very really excelled in what they did. But let's just say, for example, one of them who we all know and we all love very much would be someone like David Suzuki. He had a TV show, The Nature of Things, but he always worked hard for the environment, and you know, someone like that could be on the Council of Canada because of, you know, his achievements. Just saying that idea. Someone like in the United States, it'd be someone like Bernie Sanders would be there. because I don't know, maybe someone like Trey Gowdy or somebody, and many other people who've tried to just, um, you know, they try to make the world a better place, right? And it's these people that would um, be in these councils, and even the idea of even the short-term idea of business. It's not, you're not on a board of directors because you have the most money and control. You understand? Because that whole idea is gone. I'm going to make videos for a lot of you for business and help all of you understand how we do things. Basically, the near future right now for all businesses basically is whenever we make or do something, we have to make something that is beneficial to all of us. That's not harmful to the environment. That's not just about money. It's about making a good product. And we're seeing now that all these new ideas that people are coming out with that good for the planet, good for us, that these people are getting a lot of investments, and they're the people to invest with in the future, because if you want to invest, say, in the idea of a mutual fund or something, these people in 10 or 20 years, they will be the businesses that will be around. A lot of these other ones won't be around anymore. And or the share prices, or what's left of them, the shell of what's left of the companies, okay, very simple example. Let's say oil companies. The idea of our fossil fuels, they've been fighting that one. But the whole idea is while they have money, instead of putting it into finding more and more oil, maybe take half that research money and just put it in with all these new companies and invest it with them. And the idea is, 20 years from now, an oil company would say, well, only really 40% of our business is actually producing and selling petroleum products or oil, gasoline. The other 60% are wind and solar, etc., etc. So it's just knowing that's happening and making the shifts until all of a sudden you find yourself at the last of the race wondering how did everybody pass me, and Sears Canada's, or I mean sorry Sears, Sears, the retailer has things can change so extremely fast, and just a few little things, if they're not addressed, it can become a huge problem. They used to have 20% of the economy 100 years ago, Sears did, and they had a big thing of ordering from a catalog. They're the biggest catalog ordering company. But now there's other companies. Now if they were smart, they might have tried to buy someone like Amazon or some other retailers, online retailers who already had a footprint and people with the vision of how to make it happen, and then just start shifting part of the business that way. It would have been, but if they would have realized that at the right moment, when they could have bought it at a very good price, they would be in a different situation today. But it's just, and sometimes you just have a short window really to realize these things before it's too late. So, us, first wave volunteers can be here to help you understand all that. Anyways, just explaining what it's like to be fifth dimensional. I can go in more depth about these things. But one thing is, for all of you people who are awakening, one of the biggest measurements of am I fifth dimensional or fourth dimensional or three dimensional is really about your ego and drama levels. Okay, because you got to watch that. How much ego do I have, or the biggest thing, how much drama do I allow myself to get sucked into? Because sometimes people, they talk about that they are awakening or they are awakened to a certain level, but it's like, well, you got a lot of drama going on maybe, and so you got to watch how much you're getting into these things as a way of understanding. Is like, hey, maybe, because if you grew up, especially older people, say over 40, and you grew up with you know, in a three-dimensional world. Now you are expanding, you know what's happening, and you're working towards it all. You lived your life a certain way, and sometimes you got old habits that you get stuck in still. So I'm just explaining that is one way to say gauge or measure say your level of consciousness on how much you get caught up in dramas of things. You know, sometimes you're posting things like a lot on Facebook or things like that, and you're talking about things, and as you know, I'm thinking, what are you posting that for? You know, that's just a fear-based earth drama thing. It has fear in it, or it just has drama in it. Like, why are you doing that? So I'm just sorry. I don't want. I'm not trying to rub anything in. I'm here to help inspire you. So, you know, it's just a check and balance sort of thing. Is like, oh, okay, yeah, how much am I? How much fear things? How much television am I watching? How much stuff am I? It's a way for you to kind of say, hey, wait a minute. Hey, wait a minute. I still got some older 3D ways here, and I have to let them go. Just trying to explain that one. I'm here to help inspire all of you. This is why I was asked to come here. I always remembered, you know, before I come here, I put up a big argument because this is one of the toughest jobs in all of creation, having to come into a density like this and help people ascend. But happy to be awake again. Remember who I am. Remember how wonderful everything in creation is. I have many videos explaining all these ideas as well. Thank you for watching.